So hi, Peter. This is our this is our coffee clutch
Right.
library minute. We'll call it. Maybe it'll
right.
be 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So what I wanted to do is really talk to you about how students, faculty, adjuncts, patrons
Yes.
could make use of the library, particularly at a distance.
Okay. That's a good question. I mean, I think the first thing to do is to go to a homepage
Okay.
and to know
The library homepage.
the library homepage,
Okay.
and to realize that the search box that's on our homepage is actually looking at 16 different databases at once.
Okay.
So I think we talked about how in the old days it was always subject headings, like child life, study and teaching, that kind of thing. Well, when you're looking through 16 different databases, they don't all share the same subject headings.
Okay.
So these days it's more like a Google type search, in that you do keywords.
Okay. So keywords are those like big ideas. So
Yes.
how would you define keywords?
I would define them as big ideas, or it could be a population, like children,
Okay.
elementary school children, things like hospitals. You want to think about your population, your problem,
Okay.
what you want to find out. So and knowing that the more words you put into a search box, the less you're going to get.
Okay.
Okay, so
So
you
is that a
start
good
off-
thing?
Yes, it is actually, because these days you're getting millions and millions of hits.
Okay.
So it's not like you won't find anything. You'll find something,
Mhm.
but it might not be what you expect. So I usually start off quite small.
Like, what do you mean by that?
I would start off with just one or two words in the front page search box.
Okay.
So if I was looking at like play or observing, I might put play observation. And I would just do
Okay.
that, and then it's searching the 16 different databases all at one time. It's keyword, and then it's going to give you a lot of results. You might get like a couple of million results.
Wow.
So you don't want that, because you're not going to search through those 2 million.
Right.
So the job of today's researcher is to narrow the results down.
Okay. And how do you do that?
Good question. We've got a couple of options we can put in the top part of the page. There are like 3 little boxes. So we'd have play observation in one of them. We might put in the next box in like hospitals.
So you're fine-tuning
You're
it,
fine-tuning
kind of drilling down.
Drilling down. And then we would do things like, then we move on to the left side of the page, and we've got things called limiters.
Okay.
Okay, limiters are things like check peer reviewed. They're things like check full text and find in Bank Street Library.
Gotcha.
So you've got those 3 limiters. All right, and that's going to cut your results down to something a little bit more manageable, maybe not that much. So what I tend to tell people is to, once you've got a list of results, then to go down a little bit further on the left-hand side and look at things like publications. And I'd be looking at the different publications that show up, and things like 0 to 3
Okay.
are kind of good practitioner.
Reputable.
Yes.
But if you're
Right.
like a new student and you
Right.
really don't know it's reputable,
Okay.
how might you then kind of decide the kinds of sites that would be best for you to take a look at?
Okay, that's a good question. I think by it being a database is usually kind of a good indication. But
Okay.
if you really want to be sure, especially if you're doing an independent study, you want to check after you've looked at all the results, and you want to put something into an IMP or a paper. You want to make sure that the peer-reviewed box is checked.
And so what does peer-reviewed mean?
Peer-reviewed means that some other entity has looked at this article or this journal and decided that there are enough checks and balances to make sure that those articles are of a high quality. In other words, they're things like, it'll have a reference list.
Okay.
There's citing. There's a name on it of an institution. The author's name's there. Things like that makes you feel comfortable that whatever you're reading is a reputable, academic kind of thing. It doesn't mean to say that everything that's said in it is 100% correct, because you've got you have to bring to it your own like this
Which
is
is
good,
important.
there's no bias in it, or the bias, there will be bias, but the bias is this.
Important.
Yes.
I'm thinking particularly with fake news, and
Right.
there's been a lot in the media now about how do you decide if something's reputable or not.
Right.
Peer reviewed is something to think about as very
Yes.
important,
Right.
particularly when you're doing academic writing,
Right.
you're doing a paper for a course, or
Yeah.
you're prepared for your integrated master's project.
Yeah.
You want to make sure it is a reputable
That's
source.
right. And I think checking the peer review box helps manage that issue, because that really is of concern. And also the other thing too is, like, sometimes when people are using things like Google Scholar, which is okay,
Right. Mm-hmm.
or they come across a website, and sometimes websites can be quite good, but if they're finding it really difficult to make a citation, then it's usually sort of like,
that's interesting.
this is not really academic, because if somebody spent a lot of time
Mm-hmm.
deciding, if they spend a lot of time on a piece of work, they'll put their name on it.
That's
There'll
a good point.
there'll be an institution on it. There'll be page numbers. There'll be a reference list.
Right.
And that's a good indication that, it's a scholarly piece of work. Because if it's just somebody's ideas or just their own thoughts or whatever, they're in too much of a rush to do those things,
So, in terms of citations, I know that you have the ebook on the library, but that was really interesting. I never actually realized that if you're having a hard time with a citation and someone hasn't given you the information to be able to create a citation, that's kind of an interesting indicator that you may think twice about using that particular
source. It
source.
should be easy to make a citation for scholarly works.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And so for students, should they be using the ebook for citations, or should they purchase the guide? What would you suggest?
Okay, don't purchase anything.
Okay.
I mean, because I think there's plenty of help on the web.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at Bank Street website, under research resources, I think it is called, we now put the APA citation page there.
Okay.
So there are web pages. There is an APA electronic resources publication, which we've bought. So we want you to download that.
Okay.
You're going to have to use your Footage barcode,
Which is really important. So how do they get the barcode
Okay.
if they're not on campus?
If they're not on campus, then they should use the cohort name.
Okay.
So, and we all know what that is. Okay. So, yeah, that's takes the place of the Footage barcode.
Okay.
So it'll just ask them for that. You just want to try the cohort.
Okay.
Ding, and it'll download,
Awesome.
and you keep that forever and ever. Amen.
Okay.
And that's a really good resource, the APA electronic resources,
Okay.
the APA book.
And I'm thinking about the research guides. That
Yes.
might be a good source also.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And the research guides, how do
Right.
they access those research guides?
Okay. Tricky little bit is that our website is being so everything's going to be looking kind of different. But at the moment, the research guides are at the bottom of the page. There's like a little button, and it has research guides.
Okay.
So you click that, and boom, there you are. So we're hoping that with a new iteration of the website, that's going to be much more clearer where things are. But so our research guides are there.
Awesome.
Yes.
I think this was very helpful, Peter, and I think we'll do this again. We'll call
Okay,
it our
all right, good.
a library coffee clutch.
Yes, good.
But if they're having questions
Yes.
about how to access or how to find something, what should they do? How should they get in contact with the library?
All right, good question. They can just email me. And my email address is very, very simple. It's P for Peter, H for Harry, A for Arnold, R for Red, E for Eddie, P Hare. So there I am.
Okay.
At bankstreet.edu.
And you also have created your own community.
That's right.
Right, so they have access to that as well.
Yes, so do join. It's open to anybody with a Bank Street email address.
Okay.
So at the moment I've got 5 people, so I want some more. Yeah.
Well, we'll get some more because I'll put it as part of some of my assignments so that they have to utilize it.
Cool.
But I think the most important thing is not to be afraid of the library.
No, and just keep me busy by emailing me, and I try to.
You don't mind?
No.
Okay.
No, not at all. And I'm sort of trying to do little how-to videos.
Okay.
And I can make them individually for different people.
Awesome.
So we can do that.
Thank you so much, Peter.
Pleasure.
All right, until next time.
All right. Good.